early Monday, everyone. One of my most favorite topics, of course, is manifesting and multiple realities and all of this. But a topic I find very interesting is near death experiences, or NDE. Then I was thinking about it for a few days, what people usually go through. A lot of people have had near-death experience. I have not, but I've had a lot of out-of-body experiences, which I'm guessing is similar. Some places where I have, there was a time, it was during sleep time, and it was sort of like a very surreal dream. And I'll just start out by telling this story. I was, in this dream, I was in a hospital. And at the time, my husband at the time and my son at the time were by me in the hospital room. And actually, I want to just kind of go back for a few minutes. Actually, for real, I used to see, like, when I was laying down, I used to see, and still do sometimes, by the way, like beings or people surrounding me, like guides, angels maybe. I'm pretty sure they're my guides, and soul family. That's a good way of putting it. And but I wasn't seeing them so clearly. Sometimes a little bit, but not so much. Well, in this surreal dream, and I was laying there, and it felt like I was really sick, like I was maybe going to die or not, And I kept seeing them a little bit clearer and a little bit clearer. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit, not because I thought they were, bad or anything, but because it was so, they were there, And, but then it cleared up and I saw them. And guess what? It wasn't scary, not one bit. I thought, oh yeah, I know these people. They look just like, you and me. They were like, they were young, maybe like they would be 20s, 30s, but I knew them, soul family. I'd probably had, like lifetimes or something with them in the past. And, all of a sudden a portal in the hospital opened up. It's sort of like at the Stargate, like in the series where you see this big, And they said, come through. And I did. And there was a beautiful meadow. And there was and it was a field, like a meadow, a field. And there was a big picnic table laid out right before me. And there were people of varying ages all around, from kids to, older people. Most of them still young, though. And there was a feast that was in my honor. And I remember in the dream, of course, thinking, but I got to get back to my family, my physical outer family. But I knew that a lot of those were ancestors, family, and friends. Of course, really, I think we would go, most people say when you go to the other side, you want to stay. So my guess is it was a dream, surreal dream, but a dream because I've always been a little bit like a lot of people, afraid of the dying thing. But I think it was just showing me there's really nothing to it. You've done it before, probably in many times past, and it's okay, A lot of people, when they go to the other side or have these experiences, say they see a light. Maybe they do see a portal too, like a tunnel. I guess it could be like a portal, right? And then they have, everyone, I don't know about everyone, but a lot of people have these life reviews where they're shown how their life past their how their life was, and they, of course, most of the time they're there judging themselves. They see either, a lot of times there's like a being or two or three, and one person said there was 12 in this life review. They don't usually say anything. It's like a big picture, and you watch yourself on it. What happened since from a baby up until you passed on to the other side, and many of these people, even though they come back, still go through this life review. And a lot of times, I think it helps them because it clears away. And most of the time, this life review is given for you to forgive yourself than it is to condemn you. And I remember one lady was saying that she saw in this life review her when she was like maybe, she was a baby, she was crawling on the floor, and there was a cat. And she remembers, and she saw it, and as she was seeing this picture, it's like she was there in the baby, herself as a baby, and felt the things that she felt when she was that baby, and she pulled the cat's tail, and of course the cat was in, hissing, scratching. And then she said, and then I was the cat, and I saw this little person coming towards me, and she felt exactly what the cat felt, scared and fear, and then the pain of the tail yanking, which I thought was really interesting to have it But you hear a lot of these people go through this life review, and then it's usually, I think, then they usually sometimes meet with their loved ones. Maybe in sometimes instances they do before, or I don't know, but then they see their loved ones and whatever else they have to. Or that's the time where they're yanked back into their body. And most times they want to still continue on, but they're told if they do, then they can't go back. And I think it was also this one guy, I'll just go ahead and tell this one story here. He was having an allergic reaction, and I think it was like 5 or 10 minutes, he had died or something, and he went over to the other side, and he actually saw his dog, a dog that passed away. I just had to put that in there because I thought that was really nice, because some people think when their pets go, either they go to a specific thing elsewhere or they evaporate, I don't know. But I think we do get to see our pets, at least the ones that were really, really close to us. And I don't think they just evaporate. I think they do go to the other. There's a place for them too. So, and then they're usually, of course, and then he was pulled back into his body. I think he also saw his dad and some relatives that had passed on. But I've watched a lot of near-death experiences this weekend on YouTube, and they're all incredible stories. Way too many to name. I think there's a channel for NDE, So if you're interested, a lot of stories. Very interesting. There was one time, and this was, of course, another just an out-of-body experience. But it was, because we all wonder, too, if we actually, when we do actually go to the other side, sometimes do we incarnate? Do we go into another, life, another life of us here, an alternate reality, or incarnate into another whole? And I think it's both, But I was not even at night. I was in a deep meditation when I had this experience. And all of a sudden I was at this, in the country somewhere. I would say maybe Indiana, Ohio, Iowa, I don't know, somewhere like that. and there was this White House, nice big country, White House. And I went on the porch, and they were having, and these people were dressed in like old-fashioned attire. And I thought, oh, cool, this is going to be really nice. There was like one of those old-time bazaars. They were having bake sales. And I went into the house, and I went into this one room. It's like I knew exactly where to go. Like it was more like a memory I was going into. And I went into this room where all these ladies were of varying ages, a lot of them middle-aged. But I was young, I could tell. And I think they were selling like baked goods around there, but they were all standing around like, I'm sure, gossiping or something, telling stories or whatever. And there was this one lady that I was by, and I knew she was my aunt. But I also know that I knew that person in this life. For some reason, I just knew it was her. And then I remember going after that, and I passed another room, and all the guys were sitting around smoking, like the study or library, some pipes and different things, and chatting. Then I looked out the window, where it must have been like the back, and there were kids outside playing and dogs barking, and I thought, wow. And then it pretty much ended right there. Very interesting story. But, and somehow I know that was a memory or life I had, but I was actually there, reliving it. Not exactly an NDE, but, yeah, interesting nevertheless. And I just want to say one more story, even though, again, not an NDE, but interesting in the fact of reincarnation. Maybe I should have had this NDE/reincarnation. When I moved to Germany, my then mother-in-law at the time said that she knew somebody who knew this lady who was an American lady also. So she thought I would like to meet her. Well, this lady called me. To make a long story short, my husband at that time and I and our son all went over there to have dinner with her and her husband. Well, after dinner, the guys talked, and it was us ladies over there talking. And she was telling me the story where, when she first came to Germany, and I think she was with her mom too, they were in this castle. And, looking all around, and all of a sudden she saw a painting up there. An exact replica of her, but in old-fashioned clothes, like, 300 or 400 years back. And then the husband of that lady, in a painting, she saw was an exact replica of one of her ex-boyfriends who had since passed away. So funny how sometimes it all comes around in a circle, and why did they look alike? I mean, obviously they were not the same people, but anyway, just thought I would throw that in. Anyway, I will have a compilation sometime of NDE stories. They are so fascinating. I'm really fascinated by how people go to the other side and they come back, and of course, I am one of these that actually believe their stories and not just try to figure out, were they hallucinating? And although everybody has a right to think the way they do, I really don't understand, and that's probably another show altogether too, how people cannot believe that there's something after we die. Some people just think we die and that's it. Like the whole world was made up, and I don't know if the Big Bang Theory or what they're thinking, but that there's nothing out there, no intelligence, no blueprints that made everything, and we know that's not true. At least I would hope most of us would know. But it would just happened. But then what motivates you in life? If you know that you're born, you just live, your life, and then nothing. and then nothing. Just die and that's it. No reincarnation, no life after death. But anyway, that's a good one for another show. Anyway, I wish everyone a fantastic Monday and week ahead. And this is Lavender Rose, over and out.